Yes, that traditional faith-based jingle bells. Thank you, Zoe. So, as we let go of the busyness of this day, the presents and the food, and trying to define what COVID means for your family this year, wondering if the cat is going to knock over the tree, and how many presents your dog is going to open before it finds its bone. Let us step into gratitude and blessings. We bless all that has happened to bring this service together. The message, the love, the technology, and our amazing crew. And last, we are grateful for this time with our faith. Time to connect not only to each other, but to connect to God, to the universe. Which really is the true reason for this gathering. Please help me anchor this by saying, and so it is. So our sacred reading today, one of the things I'm kind of grieving is not having a choir. It's like and I looked and looked and looked for days for a sacred reading, and couldn't come up with one. And so I kind of put one together, compiled some things. So, O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. On this silent night, this holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Do you see what I see? A star dancing in the dark with his tail as big as a kite. For it is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Hear the angel voices with tidings of comfort and joy. Joy to the world, with every heart preparing him room. To honor him, I will go tell it on the mountain and play my drum, knowing that he will bring us goodness and light. And until the Son of God appears, rejoice, rejoice. And our candle lighter tonight just got off of duty at the Santa's Village. We're lucky to get this special appearance by Tiffany. And so tonight we light just one candle. Now, candles are used for many things: religious gatherings, celebrate birthdays, unite a couple at their wedding. We use them to honor and remember. Who doesn't love reading by candlelight? Of course, what would a romantic dinner be without one? And of course, a candle in the window to light the way for your loved ones coming home. So tonight, take a moment. What would you like a candle lit for? And as Tiffany lights the candle, your candle, it will be lit with your intention. Thank you, Tiffany. And now we have a very special presentation of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. Thank you, Jessica. Well, my name is Linda Steiner, and I'm one of many, many licensed practitioners, and I got the honor to be here tonight to share with you our Christmas Eve service. So I just want to take a moment to welcome you into our home, into our hearts, and into our celebration of faith. Thank you. Not only for tonight, but just thank you for showing up this entire year. We're blessed by your presence. And so now I get to toss it back to another, nope. A video.
This is for you.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Okay, this, my favorite song. And I just want to shout out to Blaze for bringing it to life.
This is my wish for the world, that peace would find its way to every boy and girl. This is the time for harmony. Let love be the song that everybody sings. Fill the earth with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light and let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. I hear the sweetest sound, the sound of hope to come. Together we can bring goodwill to everyone. Let it start with you. Let it start with me. Let every nation rise to sing this melody. Fill the earth with joyful noise. Ring the bells and raise your voice. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth. Lift your light and let it shine. Shine, shine, shine. Let there be peace on earth. 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 Merry Christmas.
Somewhere around 2,000 years ago, a baby was born. And many thought that this child was the fulfillment of a prophecy from many, many years before. The prophet foretold the coming of a new teacher, a new leader, who would teach a new way of living, a new way of being in the world, a way of being filled with peace and harmony and joy and love. Then out of the east came 3 wise men bearing gifts, gifts to honor this new teacher and this new way of being in the world. But that world was filled with unrest and division at that time, and people were anxious for this new way of being in the world. Here we are 2,000 years later, and many of the same things exist. The last year has been a difficult year by anybody's estimation, and I think most of us are going to be glad to see 2020 fade into the rearview mirror. The troubles that we faced, probably the biggest one was the pandemic. Over 1.75 million people have died in the world by now, 326,000 of them in the United States alone. Terrible, terrible loss. Because of this pandemic, the economy has taken a nosedive. Our trade, many things have been affected. And people are in food lines. People who never thought that they would be in this situation have found themselves there. And perhaps the biggest thing that we've experienced is a sense of separation. We can't come together, even in our spiritual community, without the risk of spreading this pandemic. And we feel separated. We feel separated from one another, and in some cases we feel separated from God. When the pandemic was at its height in New York City earlier this year, Captain Eric Dungan, he was an Army social worker, was serving at the Jacobi Medical Center in New York City. And one of his first patients that he met when he was assigned there was a 94-year-old World War II veteran by the name of George Crouch. Now, George had refused medical care and food. He did not want to stay any longer. For you see, he'd lost his wife of 34 years. They had met later in life. They were in their 50s when they met, and when they got married, they'd been together for 34 years, and he just didn't want to face the prospect of continuing without his wonderful bride, Gail. So as Eric sat beside George, he prayed with him. George didn't even open his eyes. He didn't move. But when Eric told him that he was a captain in the U.S. Army, George's eyes fluttered just a little bit. As he got ready to leave, Eric said a prayer. And then he said to George, "You know what it's like to battle. You've got to be strong. He got up and was ready to leave, and as he approached the door, he heard behind him, very softly, "Rock steady." Well, Eric returned to that room that very afternoon, and he found that George was being moved to a unit with more care, more suitable for his situation. And as they were moving him, Eric didn't have a chance to talk with him or anything, but he just got the opportunity to whisper in his ear, "Rock steady." And as they wheeled George out to take him to the new room, Eric saw his hand make a little fist, and up came a thumbs up. Well, the next Monday, Eric was anxious to see how George was doing, if he had made it through the weekend, if he had even lived, how he was. He went into the room and he found George there with his eyes shut. He had not eaten, he refused to eat, and he had pulled out the IV, which was keeping him alive. And Eric said, "George, you can't give up." George replied, "Well, what do you want me to do?" "I want you to live. You don't have to die." And with that, George got a big scowl on his face and reached down and picked up his little spoon and took a bite of applesauce. The nurse was amazed when he rolled out his arm for her to reinsert the IV. George continued to improve during the week. Eric came in and saw him every single day, at least once. And then the next Monday, George was moved once again, but he was moved to a recovery unit. And there, Eric got to see him every day, and they really began to bond. One day, Eric asked him, he said, "George, where did you serve?" And he said, "Okinawa. I saw a lot. And then after that, went to Korea. Made sergeant. But I saw some really good men die." Well, George continued to improve. He talked about the pain of missing Gail. Eric told him, "I can't know possibly how you feel," but he said, "I know that you can do this. I know that you can get through this." And George became a symbol of hope to that hospital. Words got out about how this 94-year-old man was winning his battle against COVID. He started getting patches from various military units, people throughout the hospital, doctors, nurses, other patients. Then one day he even got a World War II veteran's cap from a Marine in another state. George became the symbol of defeating the COVID virus. But perhaps the biggest, most important thing was when George was discharged. Eric was able to walk with him as they went down the halls lined with doctors and nurses, all cheering for George. So you see, the kings that we worship, the things that we worship are the things of this world. We look at the coronavirus and we give all of our attention and our energy to the coronavirus. But we forget that divine creative force which has made all of everything, including us, has given us a brain, and it has allowed us to survive through this by using our brain, by doing the steps that are necessary, by staying 6 or 10 feet apart, by wearing a mask, by washing our hands. And it's also given us a brain to figure out how to create a vaccine that we can use to protect ourselves from this virus. We spend this energy worrying about our economy, and we should be opening the restaurants and the bars, and we should be open for business, and we need to get through this. People are hurting, and yes, that's absolutely true. But the fact of the matter is that we live in an abundant universe, and we should be worshiping the King of prosperity and not the King of lack and limitation. We have seen the generosity of the people in this congregation, in this city, in this state, in our country, in the world, of people turning and helping one another. And that generosity is greater than the virus. And that sense of separation, oh, it's real. We feel it. I feel it. I miss each and every one of you. There's nothing I would like better than to go back to meeting face to face. But there is a huge amount of comfort in knowing that we can never be separated. We can never be separated from God, and we can never be separated from one another. For we are all children of the Most High. We are all brothers and sisters. We all have that same magnificent DNA within each and every one of us. And so this Christmas, I invite you to worship the principles of that great teacher from 2,000 years ago. The principles of living in peace and harmony and joy and love. Realizing that the kingdom of health and vitality is the true king. The kingdom of prosperity and abundance is far greater than the king of lack and limitation. And that king of oneness rules everything, for we can never be separated. And so from this place, this spot of awareness of our connection to one another and our connection to God, I invite my colleagues, the practitioners, those in this room, as well as those at home, to hold our congregation in love and light, and to recognize that infinite creative force is indeed with each and every one of us at every moment. And as we go through this thing called life, we are given opportunities. We're given opportunities to see lack and limitation and to experience that in cases. But behind that is the absolute truth that each and every one of us are generous people at heart, and we are anxious to help those who need it. We know that we may be separated physically, but we can never be separated spiritually. And we may know that we have a virus in this world, but we can know that we are greater than this virus. That infinite creative force is guiding us to a higher way of living and being in this world, a way of peace and harmony and love. The very things that we celebrate at this Christmas time. And so we just give thanks. We give thanks for our awareness of the power and the presence of God. We give thanks for this time of year that we can come together in peace and joy. And so I can just release this word to the working of law that always says yes. We give thanks, we let it go, we let it be, and so it is.
Star
Well, this is a time in the service where we would normally have an opportunity to participate in the law of circulation. But I'd like to suspend that for this evening. I want to express my deep and profound gratitude. I want to thank all of the people who have supported our center in these last 9.5 and almost 10 months. The production crew here has been, you've all been so loyal. You've been so efficient. You've helped us do this and put on something every single Sunday. Thanks to all of you. You are wonderful. I also want to express my gratitude to all of the people who have supported our center financially. This would be a really, really easy time to fall off and to step out of that place of generosity, but we haven't missed a single beat. Our ACSL Sunday services, the amount of revenue that we generate through conscious giving in our center has not wavered a bit. And I am just so very thankful to each and every one of you who have contributed. This year is going to end up being a really good year for us, not only financially, but from many, many different standpoints. And I just want to express my gratitude to every single one of you. I also want to acknowledge some of the people that are on with us tonight. Angela, Cynthia George, Joan Heidel, Cindy Hensley, Judy Wolf, Hosanna Hartsong, don't know her. Lyndon Marion, good to see you ladies. Mark Wogemuth, Merry Christmas to all of you. Silky, Trevor, Karen Sherman, Valera Sherman, Allison Seymour, Dana, Judith Mack. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. And I think we have one more song next.
Are you doing a benediction and affirmation?
Okay, first.
You want me to do it first?
Yeah, let's do it that. Practice safety.
All right. And so as we bring this gathering to a close tonight, I invite you to turn on your generosity. Worship the principles of peace and harmony, joy, love, health, vitality, abundance, and of course, oneness, because you and I are rock steady. Please help me anchor this by saying, and so it is.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. Bring it out here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And our closing affirmation. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas to all.
And to all, a good night.
And to all a good night.
So bring us a faithful